Thank you for that great introduction, Justin. This is going to be my tech talk on using dashboards and reports to motivate your team. To get started, we're just going to kind of go over some of the things that, you know, will motivate your team and, why this matters. So the first things are, um, you know, motivation will help, demonstrate that you know what your center is doing and hopefully increase productivity, make your team easier to lead, less likely to leave your team if they know what's going on, and trust your leadership, and they'll hopefully feel happier in their work. Moving on, some tips on what types of motivation you can use to motivate your in-person teams or remote teams. Are some of the traditional methods. Of course, would be great if you had the ability to give them additional compensation or maybe do rewards for achieving goals and things like that. But we can also work with some of the non-traditional motivations like celebrating milestones for the goals that you've set, giving job well done recognitions, maybe at the company meetings or during your weekly reviews with your team. Also, you can allow team members to maybe work on their own projects if they've been really successful in what they've been doing. That might help go a long way, letting them work autonomous from the group. So here we go. Next, how can reports help motivate? So just some of these quotes that I had found. Basically, if you keep them going with weekly reports, they're going to be able to see exactly where the important goals are and keep them on target. And having all employees or everyone able to see the center's operation will hopefully keep them focused, and maybe if they go astray, refocus them and help them be successful. Next, we have what you should do when setting up these team reports. One would be to focus on the weekly report, showing maybe the stats for that week. Another idea is to keep a team leaderboard. This could be an offline thing where you take the reports from Accudemia and put those on a whiteboard or something like that. And also just keeping track and knowing what your metrics for success. So if you're wanting to increase the center's visits by 10% in this semester versus last semester, or maybe the fall versus fall semesters, however you want to do that, you can actually use some of our report tools to kind of get that comparison and see that that's actually happening. And keep in mind when you're building these reports, um, you know basically you want something that is going to make sense and they can see the results, but you don't want to overcomplicate it, basically. And of course, automating it will keep that consistently going out to your team so that you don't have to have that task every week to try and generate these things. And so that's why our scheduled report feature will work really well for that. And some of the dashboards, if you're new to the system or getting familiar with the system, these may not be something that you're familiar with. But with your goals, you always want to make sure that we use this here in our team as what we call the SMART goals, and I'm sure those have been thrown around outside of organization, of course, but you want to make sure those are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, so that basically the goals are something that people can see that your center is accomplishing, and that it's not just pie in the sky ideas, but sometimes those are good too. So, but and then keeping those process goals versus the general outcome And the ways to kind of keep track of that, I would say your process goals would be more like as you're working in the center. So we have screens like the Manage Center screen, which shows you, like we see in this picture here, who's waiting, who's signed in, who's currently signed out. You can actually view like the comments that have been made on a session, if they've completed an assessment, how that was going. There's all types of filtering on the left as well. So if you're looking for this information for like a particular student, you can see that. And that might even go into your outcome goals, which are like the end results. So if you go then to like places like the session log, you can actually pull and filter like maybe just for a specific student, how do those sessions progress over time? And not only that, for admin, like the homepage widgets that we have available, um, those will help you out as well because we have a lot of report options that can be like on a dashboard for your admins. And if you want to include like your tutors in on that, you could actually make them an admin, but maybe only have access to view certain things like the homepage widget. So let me go ahead and I'm going to jump out of it and go right into one of my Accudemia accounts here. Okay, and that's just my sign-in station page. Let me go ahead and log in. Okay, so some of the things that we talked about. So one would be like that manage center screen, and this is where I can see who's currently signed in, who's waiting to be signed in. The ones that are signed in or who have recently signed out, I can go ahead and check those. If I just click on or select this, I can see if there were any comments made, the session assessment here, and if that was completed, I'd be able to see exactly what's happening. Now, if I wanted to see more of like an overall picture, maybe all the visits with the student, that's when I would jump out and go to my session logs. So here I have all the session logs. I can go back, look at like a semester. Um, let's say I want to see all of the summer that we just completed here. So you can see, and I could filter out on, let's say Max, and I got all his ID and all his sessions, and I can see if there's any comments. You even have filters where I could see only the logs that made it with comments, and nobody did that. But you have these options available too, so kind of get an overall picture of how you've done with that student. And looking into some of the reports. So the ones that I really like as far as comparing the usage of the center, we have some comparison analysis. So we have like attendance summary comparison. So if you're trying to see like last semester stats versus this semester, that's a good one. Attendance summary, where it's just statistics like the numbers. And you could even send this weekly to your staff and have that go out individually so that they're getting their individual kind of numbers that they're hitting. And, if I was going to go ahead and do that, I could summarize it by all these different, so this is like almost like 5 reports in one because I can summarize it by course, location, service, the instructors, the tutors themselves. But yeah, so this would probably be better if it was sent to the tutors, maybe by course, so they see who they've worked with for each of the courses. And I would just go ahead and once I set up my range, let's say I wanted to do the last 7 days, so it'd be like a weekly one, or I can do where it's like Monday to Sunday or whatever my week is, I can do last week instead. And it'll give you the first set of days I could view the report to make sure that it is what I want it to be. But here I would go ahead and schedule a report once I'm happy with it. Give it a name that I'll remember. Now I can always come back and edit this so it's not too important, but let's say weekly tutor statistics. And there's other reports as well, like there's a session comments one where if you want to see the summary of each visit with the comments, that might be a good one to do weekly. So if I change that to weekly, maybe I want this to go
Hey,
out on
hey
Monday or
Nick,
Tuesday. Yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, but I'm getting reports from a couple of folks that they're not able to see your screen. I'm able to see it, and there are people in the chat who are saying they are able to see it, but I'm not sure if you have any troubleshooting tips for those who aren't able to see it.
Um, they could try to exit and return. That's one thing that I've seen people do. If you have a lot of windows open, you can maybe try to close some of those or minimize them, and then look for the um, Teams session. And the Teams icon usually looks like a little figure with like a Team shield kind of thing. So there's, some of those things that you can do. But other than that, I don't know. Like it shows that I'm sharing it as
And
well.
we are
So
we are recording this session. We started a
correct.
little
Yeah.
late, but we are recording this session. So if folks are not able to see it still after coming back, I just saw somebody say that they are now able to see it. But we will make the recording available if you're still having difficulty.
Yeah. And then when I go to the next step for recipients here, we're going to do all active tutors because I want those to be all my tutors. And then if I go next, this is the part where I would probably want to go ahead and send them individualized emails. Just keep in mind too on this one, if you're using it, using the software in more than just one center, you might have to actually specify or say specific people because this is going to go out to all the tutors. Now, if you're in a single center, then those are all your tutors. But just keep that in mind though. And you can still do this even if I chose like specific people. Um, I'm just going to choose a few. So let's say Chad, Rachel, Nick. I don't know if I have Justin. Let's see. Nope. So those will be my three. All right, next. And then this will still give me that option to send it individually. So they get their own stats or their own comments. And then finally, I just kind of review it, make sure everything's good to go, and then hit finish. Okay, you get the big green thing saying it's been scheduled. And you can see it's never been sent, but this is the one I just set up. And I can always go back. I just double clicked on it, but I can also select it and hit edit to go back and change any of those settings that I did. So that's actually really cool feature. Some other ones, if you're looking more like graphs and things that you want to send out with it, we have a really good one called the traffic analysis. And I don't want to pull every report, but you can see that there's not only is there chart-based reporting, but you also have the list. So if you needed the numbers behind that, and there's about, I don't know, 20 or so options in that. And I'll go ahead and view that just to show you what it looks like maybe. There we go. And go ahead and open that up. There we go. That one's a little better. So, like I said, you can get that graphed out. You can see your average number of visits, or I guess this is time spent in hours. So usually about half-hour visits, maybe a little less. Now, this is just my test data, but you're going to probably have, a lot better looking charts. And then, like I said, for every report, we also have the hours and the numbers basically behind that to back that up. Um, so yeah, this was the numbers for that first one. And since they're named the same, it's actually going to be chart and then list, chart, list, chart, list. So here's another one where it breaks down like the busiest hours of the week and everything. So um, some of this can also help with planning. If you needed to, adjust schedules and things like that for tutors. So, and of course, I think we talked about this a little bit, but the referrals section, I'll have to go back to like a semester where I had a lot of those. Let's look at summer, maybe 22, spring. Okay. Um, so these are some of the dashboards where you can kind of keep track of students that were referred over to you, what their history was, and there's also reports on these as well. I think I'm just kind of rambling now, so I'm going to go ahead and call that done. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
All right, thanks, Nick, for that. And yeah, of course, if anyone has any questions about this topic right now, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. All right, and if no one has any questions about the topic, then I did just want to go over the icebreaker results really quickly, and which was just going over the map of where everyone's located right now. And I see that we have, as most of you know, we are located in Florida, and I see we have some people joining from Louisiana, Tennessee, and Ohio. So it's pretty cool to know that such a small group, there's people from pretty much all over right now. So
Oh,
um,
yeah,
yeah,
this was the board.
yeah, yeah,
I thought that would be fun.
yeah. All right. So now we can take some questions about academia in general. So if you have any of those, you can put them in the chat box or unmute yourself as well.
Looks like we have a few people typing.
Yeah. All right. So Sydney asks, is there a way to automatically email students after they have visited a center?
Um, there's not an automated process, but there is a way to send messages to students through our communication options. So you could have a thing where the tutor either sends them like a report of their visit, which is one way to do it. You could just have it like share a report and it has the comments maybe that they've already set up for that. Um, I know there's some schools that I've talked to that they actually set up maybe a weekly scheduled one that goes out to the students. Um, and you do have to be careful with that because you want to send it out to only those that need it because you can do like all students and it would be like every student in the school. So it's up to you how you handle that. But there is ways to do it basically one time or automatic, but it would you'd have to set it up on a schedule as well. And she just shared that she's been using the usage reports and sending the weekly emails as well. So that's what I've heard from a lot of folks too.
I think that's a good suggestion. We can never promise anything, but I think that's a good suggestion for user voice
Yeah.
Yeah.
to add like a automatic email option for that.
Mhm. All right. And I see Sitlali asked, is there a way to tie student survey results and answers to their individual sessions?
Yeah, so we have something called non-anonymous survey results, and there's two reports for that. One's a little more detailed, and the others just got like the student info and the answers that they've. So you do have to be given access to that. It doesn't come automatically. If you don't have that, I'm gonna put in the chat, but it's basically non-anonymous is what you're looking for, and it's a permission that has to be given to admins. So if you're like the main admin of your account, you should have access to these. But the reports will literally have that in the title, I think, as well. Like if I pull my Accudemia account back up, let me see. Reports. Actually, no, it's not in the title, but that's the name of the permission. The ones that say that is like survey with session logs, I want to say. Yeah, so it's this one here where it says like session log with survey results. So either of these two in the center attendance section will have the log information for you as well.